Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum. At b1bank.com.
From Mansour's on the Boulevard, we're out to lunch with Stephanie Regal. Stephanie Regal is a broadcaster and editor of Baton Rouge Business Report. It's business Baton Rouge style.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Regal. Welcome to Out to Lunch. 15 years ago, no one had heard of an app. They didn't exist. Today, there are more than 1.6 million of them available to download on your smartphone or tablet, and new ones are being designed every day. Apps are an integral part of commerce and communication in our digital age. And here in Baton Rouge, we have companies not only using cutting-edge apps to improve their business, but designing them as well. Amy Phillips is one such example. She's the creative director at Techneris, a full-service technology company located in the Louisiana Technology Park. Techneris specializes in custom software services, security services, and infrastructure services, which means they do things like design apps. And Amy is the person who oversees the design and user interface for all app, software, and website projects. Amy, most people probably don't even realize this is going on in Baton Rouge, so we look forward to hearing about it in a couple of minutes here on Out to Lunch.
Thanks, Stephanie. I look forward to talking about it.
Well, apps are making a difference in all sorts of businesses and in ways you wouldn't think of. Commerce Title is one of Baton Rouge's largest locally owned title companies, and it's using a unique, specially designed app called Commerce Agent. Commerce Agent app gives Commerce Title's team a powerful number crunching tool and marketing material generator all in one, and it helps them stand out in a crowded real estate field. Here to tell us about the way apps are making a difference in their business is Katie Heyer, Marketing Project Manager for Commerce Title. So Katie, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Well, Amy, I want to go back to you for a minute. Techneris has been around since before apps, since 2000, and it began as a small IT company. Today, y'all design apps, websites, and a whole lot more. Tell me about the evolution of the company and how big is it today?
Sure, would love to. We have 17 full-time employees now, spanning actually 5 states. The great thing about technology is you can hire great talent no matter where they are, or great talent if they decide to move for family or whatever reason, we can retain them as employees. So the founder, Devin Zito, started the company. His background is in development, so it really started out as a software development company. And over time, it just grew into the IT support realm. You know, as you're creating things, you kind of expand into that. And obviously, you know, technology has changed a lot. It used to be a lot more about function, and now it's about function and form. And so in 2009, he hired his first designers and sort of brought that in-house. And it's just kind of gone from there, because now it's not so much about even it functioning, but the user experience and the aesthetics of it all play together to make the
user experience. That's, we hear that a lot. It has to be experiential. That's the new thing, huh?
Yes, definitely.
How big of a portion of y'all's business is app work and designing apps?
Sure. I would say it's probably apps fall into several different categories, but within those 3 categories, I would say probably about half of our business. A lot of what we do is what's called a web application. So it is an app, but it's not necessarily something that's housed directly on your phone. It's a great way for companies to sort of get their foot in the door with app development without having to spend the money to develop it for Android and iOS. So depending on the need of the client, we might choose to do a web application that reformats and works on the phone, or we might decide to do a native app, which is what you would download from your iTunes or your Android store.
Okay, so tell me about apps, because that's become such a dominant part of our mobile commerce and communication. Why do you need an app? Why is an app better than just going to the website, which I do on my phone a lot, for instance?
Sure. I think it depends on what your need is. You know, if it's something that users are in and day out, you know, you think of Facebook or Twitter or Amazon or someone that you shop with on a regular basis, having all your credentials and everything already logged in, you can just click on it with 2 or 3 clicks, purchase what you want, have it shipped to you. It's a convenience thing. I mean, people want to be able to get those things quickly and get the information they need, whether it's their favorite newspaper, they want to read the news quickly. They don't have to search for that website, pull it up, go to that section of the site that they're looking for that information. They can just, with one click in those apps, get to what they're looking for.
Now, at Techneris, if I have a great idea for an app or a need for an app at my company, would y'all be able to build it for me?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
We have
And
the
then-
resources to do that.
And then how much does it cost to build an app?
That's the fun loaded question. You know, it depends on the extent of the app and what your needs are. If it's more of a basic information gathering sort of tool for your customers, it's going to be something that's not super complicated. You can sort of, I hate to say reuse, but there's a lot of code and things that have already been developed that can be reused. So that's going to bring your price down. If you want something a lot more elaborate or it's very specific to your business, you have certain, like with Katie, certain processes or computing and things that need to be done, it's going to be a lot more custom. I mean, I would say a ballpark is probably going to be around the $80,000 range. And
80?
That's going to be
I was
to
going
get
to say
it
10, maybe.
to get it on one market. So you're talking about iPhone or Android. Now, there's a lot of cool tools and technology now where you can develop something in one platform and it converts most of it to the other. So then there's only a little bit of added work. So maybe instead of 80 twice, it might be 80 plus, 20 or 40 to get it on the other
Gotcha.
platform. So it just depends on what you're looking for.
Well, Katie, I'd like to bring you in here. When did you at Commerce Title realize you needed an app?
We have done a ton of research, and we know from nationwide trends, statewide trends, and from the clients that we interact with every day that nobody goes anywhere without their cell phone. And real estate agents and lending professionals are no exception. They are always with their phone. So it was clear by sometime last fall, maybe even earlier, that an app was going to be something that we were going to invest in. So early this spring, we launched Commerce Agent.
Tell me what Commerce app enables your agents to do.
Absolutely. The two biggest points of benefit of the app are the number crunching machine that is the app. Right, there are so many different kinds of ways to finance a house, whether it's a conventional loan or FHA. We've heard of these types of loans, whether you're going to do 15-year or 30-year. These things sound simple on the surface level. Oh, I'm going to get a 30-year mortgage or a 15-year mortgage. But the way that dials down into what you actually need to provide at closing to actually buy your house,
Right.
there are so many different things that go into that equation. I mean, these are numbers that you can't Google. You can't go online and just Google escrow fees or taxes or closing costs. At least you can't without having to go to 12 different websites.
Sure.
And not knowing exactly where to find that information can be a huge time crunch, put people in a huge time crunch. So the app saves people a ton of time. All they have to do is type a couple of numbers in and run different estimates.
So it's basically almost like a fancy calculator.
It's half of it is a wonderful, brilliant calculator, and the other half is a marketing materials generator. You can take those scenarios that you ran in the calculator side of the app, and as a realtor or a lender who is using the app, they can take that, turn it into a flyer or an email newsletter, and send it to prospects or current clients. The
Okay.
app allows the user, the real estate agent or lender, to brand all these marketing materials with their picture, their contact information, their company logo. So when they send that out, text, email, Facebook, anything, when they send out those number crunching scenarios, their client gets this great display of information with all of their branding on it.
And you can trust the information.
You can, absolutely, because we are in charge of making sure all of the rates, all the information is up to date.
Now, how did you get into this business?
I came into the title world in a interesting, kind of unique route. I am originally from Florida, and I've worked in workforce development, and later I worked for a pension system.
Okay.
A friend of a friend had my resume, and the leadership at Commerce Title was looking for somebody like me who could do PR and data analytics, marketing, all that wrapped into one person. And so he reached out to that person that we have in common. They got my resume, and here I am. So I'm not native to the real estate industry, and that's part of why we adopted the app, is because I am outside of the real estate environment. So I think, well, maybe we can do an app for that, or maybe there's a web based solution to these problems. So, or whatever challenges we would have at work. So I like to think that my broad base of experience in my career has really helped our company.
So you bring a really different perspective to this company.
Absolutely.
Amy, how did you get into the high-tech world?
Sure. So my background is in graphic design. I got my undergrad from LSU and did a lot of print work. I actually did large format design, so wall graphics, vehicle graphics, that sort of thing. And at that point in time, web was really just sort of taking off. Like, a lot of companies didn't even think, oh, I need a website. I mean, that just wasn't something that you did unless you were one of the big names. Local companies didn't think about that. And so knowing that that was a direction that things were sort of heading, I wanted to get into it. So my friend that I went to college with was actually the first designer that Technaris hired. And so when they were looking to expand, I reached out to them with really an interest to just learn the technical side of where design was really going.
Okay.
And so the rest, I guess you could say, is history, because I've been there for over 6 years now.
And there's been just a sea change in 6
Yes.
years, which doesn't sound like that long, but the industry is like every day.
It's totally different, and just even, things I think transitioned to a point where you needed a website, or maybe if you were a big corporation, you needed an app. But now it's really an ebb and flow. I mean, people not only need these things, but they need to be interacting and engaging with them in order to engage their clients. I mean, Google and Yahoo change on a pretty regular basis how they're sorting data. And so, being able to be there to assist clients not only with navigating that, but also how customers are looking for that information, whether it's inside of an app or a website. Like you said, it's changed a lot. 6 years ago, not everyone had a smartphone. For the most part, everyone has one now.
Exactly.
And they're used to clicking an app or going into things or finding things quickly. So how they even navigate the page on a website has changed over the last 6 years.
Do companies still need a website? Or do you only need an app? Or can Facebook take care of it instead?
Sure, I think you need all of it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the clear answer. Different people are going to be in different markets. Maybe how much you focus on one of those areas is going to vary depending on who you are. If you're a restaurant here in Baton Rouge, then yes, you definitely need to be on Facebook. You need to be posting beautiful pictures of your entrees and communicating with people and posting on Twitter, hey, we've got a food truck, we're going to be here. You need to be doing those things. But I definitely think you still need a website. The web, to me, gives you credibility. It's almost like having a storefront. It's your virtual storefront. I've probably heard about you. I might be interested in your project, but I'm definitely going to go look up your site and read a little bit more about you before I even meet with you or schedule a appointment, or even maybe pick up the phone and call. So I think having at least basic and information out there about what you do, who you are, what your story is important. And then maybe just linking to those social platforms.
One of the markers of modernity is fragmentation. Target audiences are in so many different places. You don't want to miss your clients because you're not on the right platform. And so I guess that's why when I was listening to you, Amy, discuss, my answer is you need each of them. I was pretty proud of Commerce Title. We have all of them. So.
What you mentioned workforce development being sort of in your skill set, Katie. I know workforce development is a problem in so many industry sectors in this market. Do you all see a problem finding qualified people to work in your respective industries?
We have been discussing this recently at greater frequency because our business is growing at great speeds, which is a great problem to have. But the kinds of work that the staff members who process all of the documents needed to facilitate a real estate transaction, a closing, they're called closers or closing secretaries. There's no degree for that. You can't go to school for that. So it's really hard to find people already trained for that position. So we are, we're always looking to add people to our team, and it is a challenge from time to time So we just realized we have to be flexible and realize that we can raise up leaders in our company by turning them into trainers at the same time as closers. So
The people that you need.
exactly.
What about techies? Are y'all able to get enough of them?
I would say there's definitely a need for more developers in the Baton Rouge market. Like, obviously, I know there's a lot of young people coming out of school, but a lot of them don't have experience. So, they might be a better fit for an IBM or somebody who's a larger corporation who has training built into their work program where they're going to go ahead and take the first 6 months and onboard them for a specific type of development. With us being a smaller company and our sort of target market being small to medium sized businesses, our guys kind of have to do a larger breadth of things. They're not skilled in like one specific type of programming or niche within a programming. So being able to hire talent that can sort of take on a larger range of things is a lot harder to do when you're looking at recent graduates in computer science or technology from that perspective.
Are y'all recruiting a lot of people from the outside? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I think you kind of have to look outside. I mean, the upside is that you can, with what we do, we can have off-site employees. You just have to have the right employee for that. There's a sort of a how they work and their mentality and just everything has to be a good fit for that. Not everyone enjoys working at home or that works for them. They like going to an office. So it really just depends on the person. So it still creates a challenge because even if you find someone that has the credentials, if they've never done that before or it's not really a fit for them, then it doesn't really matter so much on the other side.
Well, ladies, we're going to switch gears for just a minute and do a little part of the show that we call the checklist. So it's where I ask you each a quick question that you probably wouldn't find on a loan application. Katie, I'll start with you. The meetings you run, rigid agenda or food fight?
We like to start out with a rigidly agenda'd food fight, so our management team and our leadership, we meet monthly to discuss, the wins at our company, our projects and plans coming up. It's really important for us to get together frequently because we have 4 different locations. So we need that opportunity to get together. And so when we talk about operations, marketing, production, at each of these meetings, we ask everybody, hey, send us what you'd like to talk about this meeting, and be prepared to talk about it because we're going to go in detail. And it's tangential. We talk about everything under the sun. People come up with ideas. There are great brainstorming sessions about how to respond to challenges. So I think it's a healthy mix. We start out with a plan, and there are some of us who are roping each other in all the time, and the rest of us are, going off the rails.
And
but
how big
it works.
is your company? How big is Commerce Tide?
We have 35 full-time employees, and our management team, we have 2 partners, and then we consider our attorneys and marketing staff plus operations, production, and that makes a total of about, we say 10 or 12 people who meet monthly. These are the people who are the movers and shakers at our company.
Okay. Amy, here's a checklist question for you. Is there a technological advance or invention that you wish would hurry up already?
Definitely. I would say I would love to see the glass technology really take off. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to see, but I mean, they're pushing the envelope on your refrigerator having a glass front that's like a touch screen, and you could throw your conversation from your phone with grandma up on the fridge and the kids can talk to her, and your windows would automatically tint as the sun sets. Just really, really cool stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how much technology becomes a part of our homes. They've really become a part of our cars and our phones now, but
Is that the Internet of Things? Is that what that's called, I think?
Not sure.
Anyway.
I know GE is big into advancing some of that right now. So
And I assume, there have been prototypes for this.
yeah, I mean, a lot of it is in the very preliminary stages, but it's very exciting to see.
So
where
we
it's
won't be
going.
able to get away from it. It's going to be everywhere. It's going to be on our refrigerator.
Yes.
Oh, no. Okay. Well, I want to get back to just talking more generally about the market here in Baton Rouge. For instance, both of your companies are dependent on the health of the overall economy. How are your companies doing, with respect to, I know there's been, I know just anecdotally from talking to company owners here in Baton Rouge that spending has slowed up a little bit this year. I think with the oil prices going down or, staying depressed and concerns over the presidential election, it's a slower year than 2015 was for sure. Are y'all feeling it?
We are actually doing pretty well because we are more closely tied to the housing market, and recently it's been a seller's market, right? So that's been encouraging for sellers because they can get a better price for their home. It means real estate agents are begging people to list. So if you're thinking about selling, go ahead and do it. Now's the perfect time. But we have this unique ability to weather these economic tides, because if the housing market slows, we also handle different financing transactions like HELOCs and refis, those things. So when home sales slow and maybe interest rates dip at the same time, that's when you see a rise in refis or HELOCs, so that kind of thing. So we're able to weather that pretty easily. But this year has been a good year for us. So
is it a good year to refi?
I think it's always a good year to refi. If you can save money,
Well,
that's
as
a
long
good
as
time.
interest rates stay
Right,
low,
and
low, low.
interest rates are low, so go ahead and do it.
Amy, what about y'all?
Definitely. I think one thing that's a little bit unique for us, most development companies or technology companies usually have one, maybe two of the sectors that we're in, but us having sort of three different unique areas of the business helps us sort of separate. If one area slows down, then we sort of have this other area of revenue. The infrastructure services, which are more your IT technical backups, supporting computers, those sort of things, those are more of an ongoing revenue. Clients will have a contract with us for us to service their business. So, they're a small company. They don't have the money to have an in-house IT person, but they have us as their consultant, and they get the breadth of our full team's experience. So that's really great for them. That's more of an ongoing, recurring thing. And then obviously custom software services, those are more projects typically, whether it's an app or a web application. So, with that, yes, it does ebb and flow. The summer is usually slow anyway. This month is usually one of our slowest times of year because everyone goes on vacation. All your contacts for your project management are kind of in and out of the office. And then obviously the security side, I think things are really starting to ramp up there. I mean, people are concerned about, the security of our data, or is our team trained in enough technically to know what information they should share and what they shouldn't share, and even doing tests to see, like, is that stuff, we've put these processes in place, well, do they actually work, and what holes are there?
It's such a huge area, and I heard an expert speak on that just yesterday, and I mean, we are so vulnerable, and employees are the real point of
Sure.
where you're most vulnerable.
Exactly.
And outside devices like your phone or your tablet you bring into the workforce, into
Exactly.
the workplace. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there.
Yeah, definitely.
For companies, really. How do you all keep up with the changes in technology? We talked about how fast things are changing. In 6 years, it's been a whole revolution. Do y'all have tips or tricks for how you keep up with what's going on in your industry?
Sure, I can see that. I think for Technaris, we're in a very unique spot because we are in the Louisiana Technology Park. And for those of you who don't know, it's basically an incubator for technology companies. We are an anchor tenant, which means that we're a more mature company. We've been doing this for 15 years. We're there to sort of support the younger up and coming companies and just sort of be an anchor in that environment. So, we're sharing a suite with all these young technology companies. I mean, you run into someone at the coffee pot and you get to talk about what are those guys working on, and so there's that ebb and flow, and our CEO Devin, he gets to meet with the other CEOs in the tech park and they talk about what things are going on. I think from your viewers' perspective, there's a lot of great resources online that you can kind of visit. One, I would say it's called appygeek.com. I know, great name, right? It sort of covers a breadth of things, whether it's apps or just technology, like what I was talking about, like home automation, those sort of things.
Appygeek.com, and that just keeps you up to date
on what's going on, what's changing in technology.
That is so interesting.
And other resources. I mean, there's imore.com, which is pretty much everything Apple. If you're into Apple technology, windowscentral.com, things like that you can just go to, and they're basically a blog that just kind of highlights different things that are happening in different areas of technology. So I would say for your listeners, that would be a great place for them to kind of see what's going on.
That's very useful information.
Yeah, well, Stephanie, I would add that in addition to subscriptions to these great email newsletters or websites that have these resources, I'm a big proponent of networking, and I straddle the line between marketing and PR and advertising and the legal and real estate worlds, right? And so at that intersection, I try to keep up to date with everything that is new that could benefit our company. So I'm a member of the Public Relations Association of Louisiana, as well as the Legal Marketing Association. And it's funny that we should talk about security and the need and the market that is there because of the increasing need for security. The very next meeting that I'm going to at the Legal Marketing Association is all about cybersecurity.
I think it's the topic. It's the hot topic of the year. We only have time for one more question. I want to ask you both, if you could change one thing about Baton Rouge, what would it be?
Wow. I would definitely say make Baton Rouge more walkable, like just walk friendly, like even just sections of the city, I mean, even in this area, just going ahead and finishing the sidewalks all the way to Jefferson, to where you could walk to your favorite coffee shop or take a stroll. I think that would be one thing I would like to see happen.
I bet a lot of people would agree with you on that.
I love that. I think Baton Rouge has a great culinary scene, and I think if we could just keep promoting all the little either pop-up restaurants or great eateries around here, that
Locally owned.
Locally owned.
There you
I think
go.
that attracts people because we have unique cuisine here, and so I would definitely make Baton Rouge just a unique place to come and enjoy some of the best food.
Well, ladies, this has been so interesting. It's always great to hear about successful companies doing innovative things, and particularly in the tech sector. So thank y'all for being with us today on Out to Lunch.
Thank you.
My guests today on Out to Lunch have been Amy Phillips, Creative Director at Techneris, and Katie Heyer, Marketing Project Manager at Commerce Title. And you can find out more about Techneris and Commerce Title by following the links on our websites, itsbatonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Today's show was recorded live over lunch at Mansur's on the Boulevard in Baton Rouge. Mansur's is open for lunch daily from 11 to 2, for dinner nightly, and for brunch on Saturdays and Sundays. The producer of our show is Grant Morris. Our technical producer is Eric Merle. Our associate producer is Peter Raschuti, and our Baton Rouge business consultants are Charlie D'Agostino and Ann Edelman. You can see photos from this show on itsbatonrouge.la and on our Facebook page. These photos are taken by Ken Stewart. Mitch Foreman wrote and performs all the music on Out to Lunch. Mitch's latest album, Puzzle, is out now. You can find out more about that at mitchellforeman.com. You can get this show as a podcast, you can listen to past shows, and you can keep up with us on all kinds of social media by going to our websites, itsbatonrouge.la and wrkf.org. Out to Lunch is a production of INO Broadcasting for itsbatonrouge.la and WRKF 89.3 FM. I'm Stephanie Riegel. Thanks for joining me. I look forward to meeting you again next week around the table here at Mansur's for more business Baton Rouge style on Out to Lunch.
Major support for Out to Lunch is provided by the law firm of Jones Walker. Established in 1937 with over 375 attorneys and offices throughout the U.S., providing a comprehensive range of services to a local, national, and international client base. JonesWalker.com. And by Business First Bank, with locations throughout the state, including 11 offices in the Baton Rouge area, providing personal and commercial banking, treasury management, and wealth solution services to help clients succeed. Business First Bank. Banking with greater momentum at b1bank.com.